Hey beautiful humans, it's Rebecca Crow here. Today is the 8th of March and it is International Women's Day. Now, last year I did a video on International Women's Day that kind of went over the history behind the day and a few of the reasons that we have International Women's Day. So this year I thought I would do a recap of all the feminist and women-related things that have happened in the last 12 months. Now, this is by all means not everything that has happened in the last year. There's plenty of other progress that has occurred and unfortunately lots of other oppression as well. Now, the first thing that happened since last International Women's Day, which was fucking amazing and a great advancement for women's rights, was in Ireland. It is Repeal the 8th. If you don't know what that is, it means they repealed a part of their amendment which basically gave mother and the unborn fetus equal rights, effectively banning abortion in Ireland unless for very serious medical reasons. But even then, the law was not enforced, and in 2012 a poor woman died after her miscarriage became septic and they repeatedly refused to give her an abortion. Women would regularly travel from Ireland to England to gain access to abortions. This came with a lot of shame and a lot of stigma. And it's 2019, you guys. Women's reproductive rights are their own. We cannot be policing other people's bodies. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. However, we must not forget about our sisters in Northern Ireland. Now, Northern Ireland is a bit of a weird thing at the moment because Brexit. I said it. Brexit fucked everything up. You know what? Northern Ireland hasn't actually had a government for the last 2 years. Did you know that? Insanity. The UK government, or the English government, and the Irish government are kind of just brushing Northern Ireland off as if it's not really their problem. But our sisters there are stuck without their basic reproductive rights that could save their lives. They're still having to travel to the UK, to England, to get abortions. It's absolutely ridiculous that Northern Ireland, I keep saying it, is part of the UK. However, the women over there do not have rights over their own bodies. So as you may have seen, on the 4th of July in 2018, there was a Sex Work is Work march taking place outside the UK Parliament in response to them debating a bill in the UK Parliament, very similar to the Foster-Sester bill in the USA, but they hadn't actually consulted any fucking sex workers on this fact. So we decided to gather outside Parliament and make our views very loudly known. I made a video all about the protest and all about Sex Work is Work. You can find out more information from an awesome lady called B Ducks as well. She's very vocal about her support of sex worker rights. So if you want to find out more, head over to her page or check out my video. But for now, what we have to remember is even though this has kind of like died down a little bit, the war on sex workers is still ongoing. Sex workers' Instagram accounts are disappearing, same as sex workers' workplaces, same as sex workers' rights. It's becoming absolutely ridiculous. In the USA, the Foster-Sester bill was passed as an attempt to help victims of sex trafficking. However, there was a case very recently of a lady called Cynthia Brown. She murdered her captor in order to escape sex trafficking, but she was sentenced to life imprisonment, I believe it was. This is why sex workers who are in trouble cannot come forwards, because the law prosecutes them rather than protecting them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Fortunately, Cynthia Brown is being released in August, and this is due to immense pressure from the public and a very vocal and large media campaign. It gained a lot of attention. Thankfully, she's being released, but unfortunately, there are still women who are incarcerated at this very moment in time for doing something that the government should have protected them from. You know, they shouldn't have had to kill their captors. They should have been protected by these bills rather than prosecuted by them. So if there's one thing we've learned from that, it's that we must keep the pressure on. Remember to listen to sex workers. If you're not a sex worker, please don't try and assume anything really about the industry. Listen and support us. Sex work is work. And now on the 13th of July 2018 was potentially one of my favorite days last year. Donald Trump came to visit London. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know my views on Donald Trump. I personally believe that a person who disrespects so many other people is not deserving of respect themselves. So with that being said, he has managed to roll back women's rights, trans persons' rights, basically all human rights. He supports many anti-abortion societies, organizations, etc. He is bad news for feminism entirely. However, bizarrely, he has sparked potentially one of the greatest feminist movements that the USA has ever seen. More women than ever have been elected to the US Congress, which is fundamental in getting laws passed in the USA to support women's rights, trans rights, all human rights. There was also many historical firsts for women of color in the most recent elections. It's fucking incredible. 102 women are now in the US Congress. UK, we need to take a look at these guys. They have put the pressure on, they stood up for what they believed in, and they got results. This is fucking incredible, and I'm so proud of all my American sisters that helped make this happen. Basically, what you gotta realize is if we stand together, rather than tearing each other apart and judging each other or, just giving in to what the patriarchy is trying to do, which is divide and conquer, we can make real feminist change in the world. Unfortunately, it's not all positive news. The UK Parliament still only has 32% of their MPs which are female. We are seriously underrepresented here, guys. To make matters worse, Diane Abbott, who is a woman of colour in the UK Parliament, received almost half of all abuse reported by MPs in the recent general election in the UK. That is absolutely disgusting. Fuck. Guys, this is unacceptable. We cannot be having this kind of hate in the world. Women, remember to stand up for your peers. If you are of a person of more or higher privilege than another, lift that person up with you. We need to remember everyone here is not unfortunately equal. Even in all womankind, we need to remember to support our sisters, support everyone. We are only as strong as our least privileged member. So guys, remember, stand up for what's right. Women, we need to do better. Look at the USA. Look what they've just done with their Congress. It's fucking phenomenal. We need something like that here, and we need it now. Now just a silly little thing that happened last year that made me laugh. Over Christmas, you may have seen some news articles from some tabloid newspapers. I'm not gonna name who they are. You know who they fucking are. Claiming that feminists were outraged that Santa was not gender neutral. I have never met a feminist that gives a flying fuck about Santa's gender. You know what? It's not real. Sorry, guys. This is absolute fake news, and this is the perfect example of misinformation being used against women and against feminists, and just generally against common fucking sense. Remember, listen to sex workers, listen to women, take the news straight from them. If something looks sensationalized or sounds absolutely ridiculous, it probably is. Most recently, on the 8th of February 2019, so only a few weeks ago, a wonderful gentleman called Sir Christopher Chope blocked a bill in the UK Parliament from going through which would effectively make female genital mutilation illegal. Why would you block that? The same absolute piece of shit also blocked upskirting bills and plenty of other bills. Basically, he's claiming that they haven't been debated properly. However, if there's a bill going through Parliament that happens to be by one of his buddies, he doesn't seem to have much else to say. If you are unfamiliar with what female genital mutilation is, it happens in every single country in the world effectively. I can guarantee that you probably know someone who has had this procedure performed on them. 200 million girls worldwide have had this procedure. It is where females, probably under the age of 15, before pre-puberty or just to say hit puberty, have their genitals cut away and then sewn up. Basically, this is intended to keep them pure, whatever the fuck that means, but it's being performed illegally, or not illegally, I guess, yet, but very in unsafe conditions, and these girls have lifelong traumas because of it, physically and mentally. This is child abuse. Children's genitals are being cut and removed and sewn back together against their consent, which only leads to health complications. There has never been a case where this has benefited anyone. Effectively, if you didn't know what FGM was, you should know what it is now, and we need to put pressure on to make this illegal as soon as fucking possible, even just to raise awareness. It is still happening today in 2019 in countries that you would, I guess, consider developed, but fucking hell, we are not. So yeah, that's a few things that I picked out to highlight from our last feminist year since last International Women's Day. Recently, we have had some good advances. Sanitary products are now going to be made available free to all people who have periods in NHS hospitals. That's fucking awesome. Unfortunately, we still have a long way to go. There has been 4 deaths, I believe, in Nepal, which is a country in the East, and they still have this belief that when women are menstruating, they are just fucking the devil, basically. They turn milk sour, etc. And they are banished to these places called period huts that are generally tiny little huts with no windows. And yeah, the 4th woman that we know of has died in one of these huts from smoke inhalation. She basically just suffocated, and she was shunned there purely because she got her period, which is such a regular biological thing now, guys. Come on. What? No, this shouldn't be happening. Another thing I read about today, which is absolutely vile, I think, in Saudi Arabia, there is an app on the Google Play Marketplace that allows men to track their wives, I believe. I'm not sure how detailed the tracking is, but I know for sure that they can block their passports, which means they can control whether the woman can leave the country or not. What the actual fuck? Stuff like this is happening every day all over the world. Why are we not hearing about it more? And most importantly, what the fuck are we gonna do about it? Beautiful humans, thank you so much for tuning in and watching my video today on International Women's Day. Let's keep on fighting for women's rights across the world. We need to raise women up to have the same equal rights as men. Feminism is equal rights for all genders. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Wouldn't the world be so much more of a beautiful place? Thank you so much, you guys. Remember, because life is hard for you as a woman, remember it might be harder for another woman. Privilege is very much real here. Remember to listen to your sisters, help your sisters out, help everyone out. Just be an excellent human. Thank you for watching. Happy International Women's Day.